Hello. I told you I'd be back. So, welcome to you all. Hey, Zelda. No, I'm really sorry to hear about your friend, Zelda. It's terrible. Hey, Margot. Welcome. Yeah, so I thought we would talk a little bit about Andrew Smith, um, uh, one of Chandler's only friends, it would appear. Hey, Bernard G. Welcome. Hey, Blonde PT. So, he's character, right? Hey, Cinnamon. Welcome. He's a character, right? He's really he's one of the first people that I've seen in this trial that kind of stood out to me. Like everybody else has been really pretty normal, middle of the road, kind of just regular people, right? Horrified by this terrible event, and mystified that this supposedly normal guy would be capable of doing these two horrific murders. Um, but Andrew stands out. He's fairly unique kind of guy. And so I really wanted to play his testimony and just kind of talk about it a little bit and see what you guys, how y'all were affected by Andrew. So Andrew is the kid that was playing video games online with Chazzle McDazzle.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll inquire if over the break anyone was exposed to conversations, engaged in conversations, or otherwise researched or learned or sought any information about the case. I see no hands. Thanks very much.
Kathy,
continue with the states.
did they play the recording of the phone call? Great. Okay, good. Yeah, I didn't get to hear it, but I'm going to find it tonight. Okay. So let's see what old Andrew has to say. And I really wanted to get y'all's impression of Andrew.
This case, if you would call your witness, please.
The state calls Andrew Smith.
Mr. Smith, do you believe you could testify safely and responsibly without wearing a mask? That would be our preference if you can.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and remove your mask then. And next I'll ask you to please stand so that the OTB...
And he's ex-military.
Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
So he's pretty brusque.
And then you can pull the microphone back.
Yeah, that was hilarious, Alexis.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and then spell it out so everyone who's taking notes just knows how it's spelled?
Andrew Smith,
How do you spell
Alpha, November, Delta, Romeo, Echo, Whiskey.
it? And your last name, Smith.
And
common spelling?
he's married.
Sierra, Mike, India, Tango, Hotel.
And how old are you, sir?
22, sir.
And what area of the country do you live in?
Kansas, sir.
Do you know someone by the name of Chandler Halderson?
Yes, sir.
How did you meet Chandler Halderson?
Playing video games while stationed in Germany, sir.
And do you see Mr. Halderson in the courtroom here today?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Before
What's going to
you
happen
ask-
here is the judge is going to give some instructions, and then I'm going to ask you where he is. So wait
I
one
will-
second.
I would ask everyone who's not in the jury box to lower their masks for just a short moment so that all faces are observed by the witness. You can replace your masks. Thank you.
Did you see Mr. Halderson here in the courtroom?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me where he's sitting and kind of what he's wearing?
Over on the right, sir, in a suit, sir.
And that's the. And,
Is he at a table?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
oh, that's the
Record
record
will-
reflect identification.
Seems like he's intentionally avoiding eye contact, doesn't it?
Let's talk a little bit about, I guess, that time period in which you met Mr. Halderson. You said you were stationed over in Germany.
Yes, sir.
Were you in the military?
Yes, sir.
What branch?
Army, sir.
And where in Germany were you stationed?
Ansbach, sir.
And where about is that?
Middle of BFE, sir.
I was
and
waiting for
how
someone
did
to
you
say,
meet
well, where's
someone who lived here in
BFE?
Wisconsin while you were in Germany?
Playing video games on Arma 3 server, sir.
And what type of video games were you playing?
Mostly FPS, sir.
What type of game is that?
So a go around, complete objectives, and capture certain scenarios, sir.
Is it a shooting game?
Yes, sir.
And some people on the jury maybe play video games, other people don't. If you had to explain to someone how you end up meeting someone playing a video game, could you just?
Oh, I bet he is blonde.
So you'll connect to a server, and then you can type in voice channels or type in voice channels. You can type in text channels, meet people. You can die by other players and interact through them like that by just typing them, or if you guys get in a voice altercation at safe zones where some players can't necessarily hurt each other.
Okay. And so how about did you end up meeting Chandler? Was he just in one of these games and you talked to him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you talk to him a lot?
Yes, sir.
Did you develop a friendship?
Yes, sir.
About what time was this? What year was this?
I want to say it was 2019 or 2018. It was shortly after my son was born, sir.
And how often, if you just had to give us a general overview, how often would you play video games with Chandler online?
Almost every day, sir.
And would you be talking? and communicating
Alexa
during that time?
says that Andrew was in an accident when he was in the military. He had a
you started
traumatic
learning
brain
about Chandler, I
injury,
would imagine.
and that's
Yes.
one of the reasons
Did
before his
you have
head
any idea
shake.
at the time, kind of
It
what he
also
was
would
doing,
account
life,
for some
school,
of his
work, anything like
answers,
that?
right? With not,
As
he's
far as I
not
knew, he was going to
filtering.
college in one of the towns somewhere in Wisconsin and doing all that.
Okay. At some point, you end up coming back to the United States.
Yes, sir.
Military service was over.
Something like that, sir.
Okay. At any point while you were in the military toward the end of your service, did you suffer an injury yourself?
Yes, sir. I was in Germany, and I was coming off the 50 cal range, and a German totaled our Humvee, and I got in a Humvee wreck. So I slammed my forehead on a hard side wall of the vehicle, unfortunately. So
You had a head injury.
essentially, sir.
Okay. Were you talking to Mr. Halderson around this time, in between that head injury and when you came back to the United
Yes, sir.
States?
So Chandler got the
when you came
idea
back
of
to the United States, what
TBI
state
from
did you move to for a
Andrew,
living?
who had a real
Kansas City.
TBI.
Is that your home?
For now.
Okay. Had you ever spent much time in Wisconsin before?
No, sir.
After you moved back to Wisconsin or to the United States, did your frequency of playing video games with Mr. Halderson, did it increase, decrease, stay the same?
Increase, sir. I was in the same time zone.
Okay. And would you continue to play the same types of games?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there any specific weapons that Mr. Halderson liked when he was playing these games?
It really depended on what we were playing. On Tarkov, or Escape from Tarkov was what's the game was called. It would range for realistically to whatever we could find inside the video game, because not everything was
Right, blonde PT, frontal lobe.
necessarily easily to collect, but the SKS was certainly a weapon that was fun to use in Tarkov and was something that I had grown interest in as well.
And around this time, after you came back to the United States, did you learn anything more about where Mr. Halderson was in life? Had jobs changed, school changed, or was things the same for him?
Essentially, what I understood was he was still going to college, and he at some point had gone back to Windsor, or I think it's called Windsor.
He never went to
and had started working
college.
for some company installing solar panels or working on contracts for solar panels.
It's crazy.
At any point in your discussions with Mr. Halderson, did he get another job, or was that the last job you knew him having?
As far as I know, that was it, sir.
At some point, you decided to come visit Chandler.
Yes, sir.
Whenabouts was that?
Sometime during, I think it was June, sir.
Of this past year?
Yes.
In generally, how did that come about? Did he ask you to come up? Did you decide to
I
come up?
find him
So,
to be
it was
very
one of those
credible.
Last minute decisions.
What do
I wasn't
you
able to
think,
make, sir.
Joan?
So my wife had ended up going to visit family in Ohio, and she was going to be gone for 2 weeks. So I went and looked at how many points I had. I was able to take off work, and I went and called off work that day so I could come up and have a weekend with driving up there and then spending 2 days with him, sir.
Had you ever been to Wisconsin before?
No, sir.
It's a long drive.
Yeah, I agree,
Okay.
Lise.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's okay.
Poor guy.
Everyone slips up. I'm showing you what's been marked in this case as exhibit number 392. Is that you and Chandler up here?
Yes, sir.
All right. And I'll just move 392 into evidence. I'll just show it to the jury if that's okay, Judge.
Any objection?
No
to it?
objection.
It's received, you may publish.
Where'd you stay when you were up here with Mr. Halderson?
In their family home in the basement, sir.
Did you meet his parents?
Yes, sir.
So
When you were up
so
here,
Chaz
what
stole
kind of
his
things did you use the
TBI
phone?
as
Where'd you go?
well
So we went
and used his
swimming
gift to kill
at
his parents.
some
It-
river at some
it-
point, and
yeah,
then we went and drove around to the different
that's it in a
department stores,
nutshell, blonde.
department stores, and we're looking at weapons and all that. So we went to Cabela's. We went to, I think it was, I want to say it was Bass Pro, but that doesn't sound right. I know we went to Gander Mountain, and then we went to,
Okay,
like,
now
one or two other
Jones
places, but I
got
can't
an
remember what they
excellent
were.
point here. So let's pause, Andrew. Okay, I found him to be very credible, right? But Joan has a great point. So what do you think? She says, I wouldn't just give anyone guns. And the ammo that he gave was very expensive. She was a FFI dealer, and no way would I just give a gun away. Okay, so that all that is true, right? But you're also dealing with someone who's had a TBI. You can see right there. You can watch his behavior. You can see the evidence. He's blurting. He says things that are a little bit inappropriate for the setting. He's not filtering thoughts or emotions. I mean, you can definitely see something there. So maybe he just didn't like that gun. Maybe he legitimately didn't like it. Does kick like a mule, right? Maybe he just doesn't like it, and he just said, I'm going to go see my friend, and he was impulsive, and he said, this will be something good I'll do, right? I think the fact that he gave, what did he say, 420 rounds of ammo, is that right? If he was given the gun to Chandler needed a gun to kill his parents. He wouldn't ask for 400 rounds of ammo. But the amount of money between the ammo and the guns, right? So, Joan, don't you think it's more sense that he's probably selling these weapons? I mean, just between me and you. And he probably doesn't have a license to sell them. I mean, that would account for why his ammo boxes, he's stenciling his ammo boxes to be that highly organized, right? So I don't know. I'm thinking maybe, he was a munitions expert in the Army, and now he's selling on the side. Yeah, 3 clips. So it's 480 rounds. That's a lot of money, Joan. I think he did too, Joan. Yeah. It's highly suspect. And the fact that the defense attorney said, "Oh, how many of these guns have you given away?" And he said, "Well, that's none of your business." That sort of leads you to think, yeah, maybe he was selling them, right? Welcome back, Zelda. Yeah, he said it's none of your business how many I've given away. Yeah, on the stand, he said it. No, I think it was 480 rounds, Mississippi. Yeah, that's how they decided to handle the gun stuff, is they sell plenty of guns, but you can't buy the ammo for any of it. Yeah. There's no way I would have given a gun to my relatives, yet alone a stranger. He said that he gets guns and collects them, and just one day he decides he doesn't want them anymore. Yeah. Yeah, 480 rounds, please. That's a lot of shooting.
Showing you a photograph labeled exhibit number 563.
Jesus.
Did you take that picture?
Yes, sir.
And what is that?
The river, sir.
That you went swimming?
Yes, sir.
And who took you there?
Chandler and his girlfriend at the time.
And they did, I don't think they really tied this up very well, but they will during closing. And that is that the area that Andrew describes where Chandler took him swimming is the same area where his mother's legs were discovered.
I'll move 563 into evidence.
No objection.
It is received.
And I asked the publisher on the Elmo. Actually, it's not set up right now. I'm just going to show everybody.
Oh,
Was that a river or a lake you were swimming at?
River, sir.
And was there a city across the street or across the river from there?
Yes, sir. And there was a bridge on the right.
It's
Having never
probably
been to Wisconsin before, you don't know exactly what river that was or where you were.
probably
I'm just here, sir.
Okay.
what, between
How long did you
$700
stay
to
up there with Chandler and
$1,000.
the family when you came to visit?
So I got up there on Saturday morning, right around 5 a.m., I think. And then
That's
I
right,
stayed there
Blonde.
until Sunday evening.
Now the
around
ATF will be
1700,
on him.
And then went and departed and was able to arrive back home on Monday around 2 or 4 in the morning, somewhere between, sir.
When you visited Wisconsin to see Chandler, you brought him a gift.
Yes, sir.
What did you bring him?
I brought him a 20-inch barrel SKS.
I think they're all 20 inches.
How did you acquire this gun?
So I had purchased it on a gun broker, and I went and had it sent to my FL, and then I went and sat in the FL until I went and did the FL transfer. So I purchased it initially because I really
So
thought,
the
like, oh,
gun
I'm like in the video,
is
I might like it in real
worth
life. And then
about
I fired it, sat in my safe, and I never touched it
$750.
again. And then it just dawned on me like, well, I'm going to give it to someone who might actually appreciate this weapon and take care of it and all that. So I ended up just giving it to Chandler as a gift.
Okay. So while you like guns, you didn't particularly love this gun.
No, sir.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 391. You know what that document is?
Yes, sir. It's a FL transfer paperwork, sir.
And you've been saying the phrase FFL, correct?
Yes.
What does that mean?
That's a federal firearms license holder.
Meaning someone who's licensed to sell firearms and fills out
Yes,
paperwork.
and does the correct background checks and such.
Got it. I'll move 391 into evidence.
No objection.
It is received.
This document has
So
your
they're
signature on
about
it and the
30
person who sold it,
cents
their signature,
around.
correct?
Yes, sir.
And it has the serial number of the weapon that you purchased.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you gave the gun to Chandler, did he pay you for it?
No, sir.
It was a gift.
Yes, sir.
Did you document in any way transferring that gun to him?
Yes, sir.
How did you choose? Did you fill out paperwork like this?
I took his photo ID that the state issued him, and I took it right next to the serial number, annotating that this was me giving this weapon to this individual. So that way, if anything like this would occur,
Yeah,
that it would naturally come back
$910.
to me.
Okay. It was
It-
important to you
it-
to document that.
The
Most
gun
definitely,
and the
sir.
ammo together was
So I'm
about
showing you what's been marked as
$1,000.
Exhibit number 393, 394, and then maybe a more zoomed in version, which is 564. Do those all appear to be just general versions of what you did there?
Yes, sir.
And so these are Chandler's driver's license and the serial number of that weapon.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll move 393, 394, and 564 into evidence.
No objection.
They are received.
And I'll publish them to the jury just by showing it, if that's fine with everyone. Okay. So I'm showing first this one. This is Chandler's ID, and then you put it up next to that serial number.
Yes, sir.
Another version zoomed in, same thing.
Yes, sir.
And then the actual serial number zoomed in a little bit closer.
Yes, sir.
Can you read the serial number for us of this gun from the zoomed in picture?
Yes, sir.
Right, Joan? No, I'm with you. I think he's selling black market. Look, it's Mommy Ramblins.
1017948 Papa.
So 101-794-85.
P.
Pete, Paul. Okay. Had Chandler asked you for this gun, or was this just your idea?
I think he had at one point asked for it as a joke, but mostly it was my idea, sir.
You brought him other things that go with the gun?
Yes, sir.
What type of things?
So I had brought him a steel canister that had contained roughly 480 rounds of 7.62 by 39 steel case tool ammo.
And is that the ammunition that goes with that weapon?
Yes, sir.
And showing you what's been marked, exhibit 395, 396, 397. Do those appear to be that canister of ammunition?
Yes, sir.
And are you fairly confident that's the one you brought?
Well, I mean, I'm the only weirdo that stencils his ammo can, so yes.
You put those stencils on there.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I've moved
Filter
397,
Andrew.
395, and 396 into evidence.
No objection.
They are received.
And I'll move to publish to 396.
Yes, of course.
And so showing the jury this picture, when you say you stenciled this ammo can, what do you mean by that?
So I've got plenty of different kinds of rounds in my home. So I'll go and have different cans for them. And I take a spray can, I'll buy the stencil so I can make sure I know what I'm grabbing if I need something before I go to the range. So I'm not running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to figure out what can goes to what.
So this
The
yellow
gun is
paint
vi-
that says 7.62 by 39, that's you that stenciled that on there.
Yes, sir.
He has a head injury, Chihuahua.
And briefly,
His frontal
just
lobe
showing you
damage.
exhibit number 398, 399, 400, 401. Do all of those appear to be the ammunition that was inside of that can?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll move
I like
398 to
him.
401,
I find him to be really credible, but
They
but
are
I don't think
and I move to
he.
publish. I'll
I don't
publish
think he's giving
just for
guns
purposes
away.
of
I don't think that at
just showing
all.
the jury something. 398 and 400.
They're pretty expensive to be
and
just
these are
handing them
those
away.
ammunition.
Yes, sir.
Okay. There was a lot of ammunition.
A bit.
How did Chandler react when you gave him the gun?
Oh, he was happy
What do you mean? But how do you know he was happy? Or how do you know that?
because he had a big smile on his face when I had given it to him as a gift.
Were you aware whether his parents that he was living with were gun people or wanted guns in their home?
As far as I knew that, or what I was explained by Chandler was that his parents understood the reason why firearms exist in this world. And not that they necessarily support having them, but they're helpful in situations.
Sure. To your knowledge, did Chandler have any guns?
As far as I knew, he told me that he had owned a AR-15 with a barrel extension.
That
had
is
to
a
be
very
loaded
good
on
point,
or something like
Joan.
that. It was kind of looked like an M16 almost.
Did you ever see
We
that
don't know
He had
that,
showed
do
me a
we?
picture of it on the video or on
Only
app
the
on Discord,
partial.
but I don't have any documentation of that.
When you were here in Wisconsin, did you ever see any guns in the Halderson house?
I think I asked about it, but I think he said that they had it at the wherever their cabin was.
What did Chandler do with the gun? Were you able to figure out where he put it in the house?
Yeah, he had initially. So if you would walk down the flight of stairs in the basement, you would look left. There was like a little wood pile, and he had stuck it in the middle section there because it was. I understood that they might not be happy about having this firearm. So, but he had told me he was going to be moving soon to do a career in SpaceX in Florida. So he was just going to take it with him and move out there with it.
Were there any magazines that came with the gun?
Yes, sir.
How many?
3.
And
Oh, Shazzle
went
McDazzle's a
with that.
creepy looking
Yes, sir.
guy,
how
isn't he?
were they loaded?
He
when
gives
you
me the
gave them to him?
heebie-jeebies.
Not initially, sir.
How did they become loaded?
I think we were bullshitting with the magazine, sir, and both of us and were like, he was asking me how to load it, so I was like, oh, and I was showing him how to pack the magazine.
Aside from, and I think we've got it, but aside from the gun, the 3 magazines, the ammo can, and then the 400 some rounds of ammunition, was there anything else related to the gun that you gave to Chandler?
The optic that came on the weapon,
The sight, if for most people. If people aren't gun people, what's an optic?
it's the same thing,
Okay.
essentially.
If I showed you that gun, would you recognize it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're not going to touch it. The detectives, in fact, are going to touch it, but it's already been received into evidence.
Roger.
In this case.
With Home Chef, you're not just home cooking, your home is
Yeah, his side hustle's over. That's true.
Our convenient options are ready in as little.
Welcome, Doris. Good to see you. We're
This is
watching Andrew.
Detective Shunk, who I think you've met in this case. Does that appear to be the weapon that you gave to Chandler?
Can you flip it over? Yes.
And looking at this zoomed in picture of the serial number from the driver's license photo, you can stand up if you need to. Would you confirm to me if that's the serial number, in fact, on that weapon?
Yes.
I think just because you weren't speaking into the microphone, because I asked you to stand up, that last response was yes. That
He
is the
sure
serial number.
does, Ellen B.
Yes,
I
sir.
agree.
The magazines themselves, would you recognize those if you saw them?
Yes, sir.
How so?
Well, I don't remember. My brain doesn't always work correctly sometimes, but I can remember most things for firearms. So I know 2 of them should be made by Pro Mag, and then one has a metal bottom with some black screwed up something on it.
When you gave Chandler the 3 magazines, and obviously there's 1 gun, but there's 3 magazines, there's a good deal of ammunition, several hundred rounds. Were
400,
you
480.
480. Were you giving him everything you had related to that gun?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you have any reason to keep any of the other things?
No, sir.
Okay. Just 1 second. We're going to show you some other stuff.
Gotcha.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. So listening today, I got to tell you, he took that gun up there, and then 2 weeks later, his parents are shot with the gun. You got to admit, that's some pretty sketchy timing. And he was not home at the time of the murders. He was in Texas visiting a different friend. So I just thought to myself, gosh, that's an awful lot of traveling for a 22-year-old married young man, right? But the timing on the gun is definitely a little suspect. Not big, but I noticed it.
And this might take a second. And again, you'll notice the detective's wearing gloves, so he'll show you anything and he'll turn things around if you ask him. He'll have to ask you not to touch anything.
Roger.
Just so the jury knows, because of the break that we had in suspending the trial.
Maybe.
I asked the detectives
Blonde.
to reseal all of the evidence boxes. Since we
But
weren't
I
gonna
was
be able to
thinking more
access
of
them
like
for a
maybe
number of days.
his friend in
And that's
Texas
the
needed a
process
gun
that's
too.
happening at this
You
time.
know what I mean? No, he was married, Kathy. He said something about his wife went somewhere for the weekend, and he decided last minute to go see
And so-
Shazzle
Can you
McDazzle.
flip that box over for me?
He did say
Showing you
Roger.
what's been marked as 288. Does that appear to be a magazine consistent with what you gave Mr. Halderson?
Yes, sir.
And what defining characteristics are on that magazine that lead you to believe that is in fact the one you gave him?
The big ugly
I'm
splotch on the
yawning.
bottom of the magazine, sir.
All right, and I'll have the detective display that for the jury.
Oh, do they have a kid?
If you feel the devastating embarrassment and pain of herpes, stop and watch this. Because
Mommy
you're about to
rambling.
learn about
All right, and so we're going to do the same process with the next 2. The next exhibit we're going to deal with is 289.
Please, some of the evidence that was provided by the cell phone people sounded like he'd been planning this since October, talking about premeditation. Yeah, they kind of waste a lot of time trying to open bags up here. Let's see if we can help them along. See? Told y'all.
The outside is Exhibit 288. You yourself have fired this gun in the past.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and in October he wrote down his dad's
Are you aware
pin
exactly how much ammunition
to the bank account.
you gave to Chandler?
Yes, sir.
How much?
The box ammo that I had purchased had 500 rounds in it, sir. I've shot roughly 20, didn't enjoy the firearm, and gave him 480 rounds.
And when you say 480, is that an estimate, or do you know that to be exact?
That should be precise.
While you were here,
See, he's dealing, Joan. He knew
No,
down
sir.
to the shell how much he gave him. He's dealing, in my opinion. Who else would know down to the shell exactly what you would give? 480 rounds, that's a lot of rounds. You wouldn't know down to the penny, right?
Did you discuss with Chandler when you gave him the weapon in June of this past year, anything more about what he was going to do with it, other than I think you said he was going to move to Florida with his new job? Anything else? Did you discuss? Was he going to go hunting? Anything like that?
I don't believe so, sir.
You said you visited him over the course of a couple of days. Did you give it to him right away or later on in the weekend?
I think it was either Sunday that I gave it to him, or it was someday on Saturday that I gave it to him.
After you gave it to him and he placed it, I think you said under boards.
And it was so it was almost like a bench like this, but there's a hollow center that had stuff stacked inside of it, and he just kind of shoved it in there since there was stuff blocking the front path of it from view.
Do you know where? Did the gun ever come out after he put it in there? Did you ever see it again?
We could have, sir. I think we could have played around with it, just showing how it works. And like, keep in mind, I had this weapon for a couple months, just had it sit in my safe, so I've had plenty of time to figure out a little bit of the ins and outs of it. So
you keep it a couple of months and then you give it away, like that's just $1,000 or more that you can just eat, huh?
Did Chandler tell you anything more about his job at SpaceX?
not really, sir. Just that he had an opportunity that he was looking forward to.
You left at some points and you continued talking to Chandler, playing video games after you went back home.
Yes, sir.
At some point, did Chandler suffer some sort of injury?
Yes, sir.
What do
As
you know
far
about
as I
that?
know, he went down the stairs and had fell somehow and screwed up his head or his neck.
And did that injury, according to Chandler, did that end up impacting his job or anything like that?
As far as I knew, so it seemed that because of the injury, he wasn't going to be able to take a flight out to Florida to do this SpaceX thing. But other than that, he didn't really explain what was wrong, just that he wasn't going to be able to fly out there and he wasn't able to look at computer screens or anything like that with so much blur on the screen or motion blur.
Did you find out at some point that Chandler's parents were missing?
Yes, sir.
How did you find out?
It was shortly after the 4th of July when I had came back from Texas from visiting my other buddy. He had gave me a sort of not hysterical per se, but a pretty upsetting call that his parents hadn't got back to him or he hadn't seen them.
Sure. And then the cadence of things was this was after the head injury?
Yes, sir.
Did Chandler tell you anything about the head injury in terms of specifics about what was going to happen or how
He
severe
told
it
me
was?
that he would have to wear a neck brace and that they were supposed to drill a hole in his head or something like that to alleviate some sort of pressure.
Okay, I had a thought, okay?
Did you talk to Chandler about his
I
parents?
want to
being-
stop this for a minute. Okay, y'all, listen. So you remember when Kat was testifying, you remember she said that they would FaceTime or FaceTime when they were in the shower. If you remember that, put a 1, right? So she's saying that she's in the shower and he's in his shower and they're watching each other take a shower on the phone, right? So doesn't it seem strange that she would be watching him in a shower? Okay, I'm gonna make an assumption here, okay? Assuming that, he got all sexually hot and bothered. Well, what about the whole problem that his legs were numb and he couldn't use his legs and he had all these problems from his head getting a hold? Is he really going to be standing in a shower doing that? That was one of those things that I realized, and I thought, oh, come on, Kat. Yeah, no way. I don't believe that, not a bit. You're saying that you didn't know that he was lying about any of this, that you thought everything he was saying was true, and his legs are numb and they don't work, and it's going to be permanent, and they have to drill a hole in his head, but then he's standing in a shower with you doing the dirty, right? Very strange. Very strange. She does say, Alexis, she does say, we could tell them that my mom and Cress, have the stuff to take care of you. Joe. Not hot, just bothered. You're funny. Maybe used a shower chair. Spoken like a very good PT. All right. Just shout outs to Blonde PT. She knows her craft, by God. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna have a hard time. Like, I think we all agree, Kat's got some areas that are a little bit hard to believe, right? That doesn't mean she's guilty of anything. But as far as her, believing that Chazzle McDazzle, his legs were numb and he couldn't use them and he had, brain injury. I think she knew better. I think she knew better. Yeah. All right, let's continue with Andrew.
Missing.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about those conversations.
Well, day one when he told us, because he had told me and my friend that he's friends with that I visited when I was down in Texas, he told us that they had been missing. So we both suggested to him that, hey, if this is really a big concern for you, you might want to contact law enforcement immediately.
Okay. What did Chandler say to that?
He said, well, they might turn up, so I'll just wait a few days, and so it goes.
After that conversation, do you recall having any other conversations with Chandler about his parents being missing?
Just talking about how or where they could have end up it, or what was going on with the situation.
Was Chandler expressing worry to you or that he was concerned?
He seemed concerned, yes.
At some point, sure, and obviously now you're aware that Chandler was arrested for what happened.
Yes, sir.
You began having to have some conversations with law enforcement because a gun that was found very close to Bart Halderson, Chandler's father, was that gun that we just showed you. And so law enforcement started talking to you, right?
Yes, sir. Well, I had reached out to them immediately upon figuring out that he had been arrested.
You've been cooperative with law enforcement the whole time, haven't you?
I'm not going to be a broken piece of glass, sir.
I don't know what that
You'll help with
means.
Yes.
I tried to think about that. Somebody explain that analogy to me. Ah, there you go, Joan. She knew better because they walked the property. Yeah, it smelled really bad, Joan. But what does the glass thing mean? I'm not going to be a piece of broken glass. What does that mean? Right, Kathy? Walked on? Yeah, I'm not going to be a piece of broken glass. Oh, maybe. Oh, he won't shatter my life. Yeah. There you go. No, I don't. Yeah, I think I like that idea that he's not going to shatter his life, break his life up. Yeah, maybe. All right. I'm glad I wasn't the only one that didn't understand it.
The police, in fact, visited you down in where you live at some point.
Yes, sir.
You, when asked, had given them access to things like bank records. Or your phone and things of that sort,
Yes, sir.
and you've provided photographs whenever you could.
Yes, sir.
Why was that important to you to assist?
Well, to put it bluntly, sir, I served in the Army, and I'm not going to get fucked for something that I didn't do.
Where were you July 1st, July 2nd, 2021?
Crystal Beach, Texas, sir.
In fact, what is Exhibit 566?
Looks like my bank statement, sir.
And where's that bank statement show that you are?
So if you follow this down, so you can see that I went and did some sort of purchase at a gas station at Texas at 7:02. Then follow this down, 7:02.
I
Western
drive past
Texas,
Crystal
and then
Beach
keep
every
following
day.
Down, you can see 7:02 Crystal Beach, Texas. Keep following down, you can see Lefkin again, sir, and then Crystal Beach, sir. And then more purchases at Crystal Beach, Texas, sir. And then a few interspersed things that my wife had been purchasing at Dollar Tree, apparently.
And where was she at?
She was in Manhattan still, sir, or Junction City, sir.
Junction City. And in all of these purchases, and this is a bank statement from the 1st, looks like through the 10th.
So Junction City
single one of
is
these
on
things.
the
No, sir.
border
Nothing from
of Louisiana and Arkansas.
Iowa?
And then
No,
Galveston
Minnesota?
is probably
Unless I have the power of
Crystal
God
Beach
to
is in
teleport, sir, I
Galveston.
don't think that's going to occur.
And that's
Understood. I'll move
probably
566 into evidence.
Any
No
objection?
objection.
It's
maybe
I don't think it needs to
7,
be
8
published.
hours from
The
Galveston.
bank statements can
Has
just be right there.
information been redacted on
They have been redacted if.
Good
ultimately-
night,
can see
Zelda.
how
Y'all
broken
sleep
I am.
well. I'm glad Larry's
That's
doing
fine.
better.
And in fact, at times, you're aware that the police verified your location in other ways, phone records and things of that
I'm
sort.
sure they did, sir.
You were never in Wisconsin.
Oh, I'm
in
so
July
sorry about
2020.
Jean.
No, sir.
One second. Thank you, sir.
cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Mr. Smith.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I'd like to first ask you a few questions about that SKS that you purchased. Is it correct that you purchased that initially for yourself?
Yes, sir. Or ma'am, sorry.
Is it fair to say you're interested in guns?
In firearms, yes, ma'am.
You said you went and fired that SKS maybe 20 times?
I had shot it once and put 20 rounds through the rifle itself through my hands, ma'am.
After that, you decided it wasn't that appealing to you?
No, ma'am. Just too much of kick, too much of anything that didn't make me happy about the weapon.
What do you mean by too much kick?
So each caliber of weapon or bullet will fire.
Yeah,
X
so
amount of
this
powder
gun
through it.
kicks like a mule.
For example, the SKS, which shoots 7.62 by 39 or whatever it is in Russia, it shoots a bigger payload of powder versus 5.56/223, which shoots up to 27
Super
grains
tired,
of
but
powder.
I'm sorry you're
So it's not
tired,
as much
Marga.
kick,
It's
but you
been
can
a
still put
long
enough
day.
firepower
It
down range.
has.
Why does the kick make it unappealing to you?
Because if I have to defend my family from a home intruder, I think
Uh,
5.56 is going to be
He
a lot
was
easier and a lot
injured,
faster for me to
Cinnamon.
react with
He was
than
in a
7.62
car
by 39
accident
rounds.
on duty, and he
Compared
got
to
a
other
traumatic
guns
brain injury.
or firearms that you've used, the SKS is somewhat louder than similar type firearms, correct?
Not necessarily. It depends. It really depends on a lot of things, along where the location is. If you're in
Yeah, head
a,
injury. Yeah,
let's say you're shooting it
from the car
it's
wreck.
going to be loud as hell because there's all the encasing around you. If you're outside, it's going to be not as loud, but it's still going to be pretty loud.
Louder than a handgun.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Under similar circumstances, louder than a handgun.
Possibly. Yes.
With Home Chef, you're not just home cooking.
Now you're familiar with your familiarity with firearms. You're familiar with the terms of flash suppressor or flash hider.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm sure,
And what are
Joan.
those?
I mean, he
So,
may not even be discharged right
hider-
now.
Depending on what you have, it can make either the ball of flame that comes out of it a lot bigger. It can make it so when you're shooting or at a prone position, when you're firing, the weapon gets pulled forward versus sending the recoil back, so it's not as much. And it really depends on what
Well,
you're talking about.
and
specifically.
also
You can't
blonde
just throw
PT, depending on
a
what
flash
part of the
hider in
brain
just
is
one of those
injured,
things 'cause they all do different
memory
things.
may or may not be
Potentially,
injured.
they could also
Right?
reduce the
It may
sound.
just be
Not
procedural memory.
necessarily
It may
unless you
be
have a suppressor.
semantic memory.
So a flash suppressor can
There's
reduce
people that say that they're
flash suppressor,
blind,
if you
and
can go out
yet
and buy
you
a
can
suppressor
put them
with a
on
tax
a
stamp, yes.
put them on an obstacle course,
could
and they'll never
any
bump
kind of
into
silence.
anything. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
In that
And he
case,
didn't
their optic
provide
nerve
any
is
of those
working.
with
They
this
can see
SKS when
everything,
he
but the
No,
part of the
ma'am,
brain
but
that
to
gives
Mr.
it
Halderson.
the
SKS,
object
barrel at the end of
meaning
it,
is not
regardless,
working, and so
it's
they don't know how to
kind of an act of
name
God
or
almost
how to
put a suppressor
experience
on.
what
So
they're seeing.
there's barrel
So
threading,
he may
which
or may
is
not
part
have
of this
memory
SKS at the end of
issues.
it. There might be
It
a
depends
special
on
attachment you can get and purchase and put
what
onto this firearm.
what the damage
But
was.
unless you have certain special attachments, it might not necessarily fit in correctly or seed correctly, which can cause violence itself and cause an obstruction.
He does seem like he may
Bottom
have
line, though,
some
this SKS that you
verbal,
gifted Mr. Halderson didn't have any.
like some aphasia kind
It's
of
the standard
problems,
end
or
of an AK-74 essentially.
not aphasia.
Now,
Maybe
when you gifted
perseveration.
this SKS to Mr. Halderson, you talked about this procedure you use with taking a photo of someone's driver's license with the serial number from the firearm. Do you
Yes,
remember
ma'am.
that? That's not something
That's right,
you
Sonny.
only have done with Mr. Halderson. It's something you've done anytime you've sold, transferred, or gifted firearms, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've done
Yeah,
that
if it's
several
prefrontal
times?
lobe, it's going to be almost
ma'am.
all
How many?
mood related stuff.
Depends on a lot of things. If
He
I
may
have,
have
so
impulsive,
I can have an
explosive
AR-15 that I'll
anger.
buy, and I'll build
He's
it, and then
got a
it'll
high
sit
level
in
of
my safe for
impulsivity. We've
whatever
already
reason for a
seen
long
that.
time, and then I can go like, oh,
Maybe
okay,
limited
well,
attention, you know.
go and sell it. But as for how many I've sold, that's none of your business, frankly.
Okay. That's really all I have. Thank you.
Any redirect? Yeah. May this witness be excused and released.
He is both, yes.
Thank you, sir. Have a good
Yes,
rest of your day.
Have a good day, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah,
The
he's
next witness,
he's
please.
selling his. He just said that. He said it's none of your business how many I've sold. He said that. And that could have been his job in the military. I mean, he could be a munitions expert, right? And then he would know these weapons well. It was priceless, Joan, but it was also accurate. It's no, I mean, legally you can't really ask him those questions. All
Good
right.
afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Judge. If you believe you
So
can do
with Andrew, what say you? Did he okay, I think most of us believe he probably sold the weapon, right? He says he gave it as a gift. I'm willing to accept that. So let's just say give or sold. One, we're going to make them the same thing, okay? Do y'all believe that he had any belief that something nefarious was planned for the weapon? Or do you think he innocently exchanged the gun and the ammunition? If you think it was innocent, it was just a friend to a friend, put a 1. If you think he had a feeling that Chandler was going to do something bad, put a 2. And that's right, Hannah. I agree. It wasn't the gun that killed Bart. It was his son that killed Bart. Just like Jodi Arias, hell, she had a gun and a knife. You know, it took her quite a bit to kill Travis Alexander. I think he was pissed off about being dragged. Oh, absolutely, Angela. Yeah. Okay, so we're all in agreement. Even though you saw that impulsivity, he said some things that were a little bit, a little edgy for, public or courtroom etiquette. He pretty well comes off as credible that in no way did he have any notion that Chandler was going to be crazy and do something like this, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So then the other one that I wanted to look at today.
Hi.
I wanted to go to
I'm
Omar.
trying to get an appointment scheduled to meet with somebody.
This is it. That's the voice of Bart. Can y'all hear it? Is it still sharing? No. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. Okay, so this is the phone call between Bart Halderson and Omar. What's his Job? Was that his last name? Job? Yeah, Job. Okay. I did too, Blonde PT. It happened today. Okay, so this was the phone call. Now remember, on Bart Halderson's calendar, he was supposed to be having a meeting with Chandler and the college about transcripts. Remember, Chandler was using that as an excuse for why he hadn't gotten a job, couldn't get his transcript, college was screwing him around, work was screwing him around. I mean, he had all these excuses. Bart set up a meeting with the college. It's the belief that he was killed when it was time to leave to go to the meeting, right? So this happened that morning, and he's on the phone. Omar Job was a name that was used in the fake letters back and forth between Chandler and the college. And so the dad noticed the name, and he said, well, I'll just call the college and pretend to be Chandler. So that's this phone call. Y'all ready? Here we go.
Mainly just get a copy of the transcript and also a printed copy of a certificate that was earned and other degree verification.
Okay.
How do I get that done?
Okay. For the degree, you have to download the duplicate diploma form and send it in with a check or a money order of $4 for the diploma to be mailed back to you. For the transcript, you have to go online and request it.
Yeah, I tried requesting online and we never got them. And I've spent I don't know how many times doing that and at $8 a piece. So I'm not willing to do that again.
Why is not letting you request your transcript? What is it?
It's not my system, it's your system. So don't ask me questions like that.
Okay, but I need to establish the problem first before I can know how to walk you through to get it. Are you by
He's
your
really
computer?
irritated, isn't he?
So I can walk you through on how to get it?
I've gone through the process before. I worked with, I tried to work with Daniel Spike to see if he can get through the information. I don't know if he's with you guys anymore, but it just seems like the ball keeps getting dropped.
Okay, I mean it's pretty easy to request a transcript.
That's what I thought too, and
you just go to the
it
website.
hasn't come through.
It doesn't come through they don't send it. Do you request it? Okay. So we have a third party that processes it. It's called Credentials. Mm-hmm. Did you talk to Credentials?
No.
Hello?
Well, yeah.
I said, did you talk to
No, I said no. No.
Okay. So we have a third party. Hold on, let me look at your account first, okay? What is your ID number or social? So I can access your account.
No, I don't have that.
Okay, what's your first name?
Chandler, Chandler. Last name is Hald, D as in David, Erson.
You said last name is HAN?
Hal is in Larry, Derson.
Okay, what's your address and your date of birth?
4595 Oak Springs Circle, DeForest, Wisconsin, 53532. Date of birth is March 15th, 1998.
Okay, so it looks like you owe a balance. You owe a balance of $2,349. So that's why you can't request it. Hello?
Yeah. Can I schedule a time to actually come in there and pay all that and resolve everything at one time?
With the payment, yeah, the payment center is open. Yes, you can come in.
He's got some sassy glasses. I like them.
Will be there. You can make the payment. You can pay online too. They can lift the hold. You can talk to student financials. They will lift the hold, and then you can request a transfer.
How long can they do an unofficial transcript?
Yes, if you have to pay the balance though. You have to pay the balance first. Then you can obtain whatever you want to obtain.
Okay. Now, how long does it take to do an unofficial transcript from you guys?
Right away. You can download it. It's a PDF that you can download right away.
That's right, Diane.
Is there a person there, an office I can go to and have them do it?
Yeah, someone can walk
he
you
knew.
through. They can show
He
you
knew
how
the
to
jig
obtain
was
it.
up.
And the same as, if you call, we can walk you through to download your unofficial transcript. But like I said, the balance have to be taken care of first.
Yes, I understand that part. So, do I need an appointment, or is it a place you can just go at your Truex field to get that?
You can go to the front desk at the Truex campus. You can go to the main campus we open Monday through Friday now.
I think they're public defenders. I
So
don't
you
think
can
they
work
picked
there, and
Chandler.
then someone can help you, like,
I think they were forced.
process the payment, call Student Financial to lift the hold, and then you can do your or download your own official transcript.
You said after the payment, you said to lift the hold, you said
Yeah,
call who?
it's a process. So once you make the payment, they can lift the hold right in there. Like, you can tell them, you want to request your transcript, so they will lift the hold right away.
So you said I had to call somebody.
No,
or can they do it if I stop in there?
Yeah, when you stop in, they will do it for you.
Okay. Now, if we've earned a certificate, say in that solar program,
You said
where does that get requested through?
if you earned a certificate?
Yeah.
I don't see that you earned a certificate. There were no, like, you were
oh, okay.
You were taking IT classes, right? I don't see that you were in a program.
Boom.
Well, prior to the IT, there was a solar program too.
Yeah, but I don't see that you were Chandler Halderson. And your date of birth is March 15, 98?
98.
Okay.
God, this is so
No, there
hard
was an
to
old
listen
account that
to.
got changed to this new one. So would it be under the old account that didn't get, or did all that get transferred over?
It's soon if they merge the accounts. What was your? Do you have your old account info? Like
It used to be Halderson C at Madison College.
This is so sad, isn't it? It's so sad.
Yeah, normally if they merge it, they'll bring everything together.
Not so far, Carol.
Hold on, I'm thinking. Okay, so the name that was on that account. What was the name of that was on that account?
Well, it's the same name, Chandler Halderson, or do you see it's Halderson C at Madison College at EDU.
Yeah, that's your username.
Chandler, you putz. God, I hate the guy. Ugh.
C. Halderson at Madison College at EDU.
No, that's the new one. And the old
Thank
one
you,
said
Quintessence.
Halderson and then C.
I appreciate that so much.
Can you tell if those two were combined or not?
Hold on, see. No, I don't see a request for duplicate account. Normally, when I type your name, it should bring. Hold on, see. Let me do it in reverse, okay? If it's Halderson C, then your first.
They must have been blonde. They said he still owed them $3,000. That Bart owed him $3,000. So he must have dropped out of school and taken a refund.
And your first name is Chandler, Chandler.
HAL. L is in Larry. HALDER.
No. So when I look you up by name, if it has a duplicate account, it should bring all the names that are under that account.
Now, if they canceled one, would that show up anymore, or once they cancel it, would it be like expunged, kind of?
It will show up and then it will say deactivate. if you go to, we have a system that will say that a duplicate account was processed. Because the account I'm looking at, there was no.
How far back does that account go that you're looking at? Like when was the first class taken?
Okay, I can. Spring of 2018. Spring of 2018.
Oh, okay. So that does have all the history then.
Yeah, but I don't see that you were admitted.
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
So I don't see that you were admitted in any program.
Wow.
Well, you said they were, the IT degree is in there, right?
No, those are just classes. Like you took general education classes and then the IT classes. You might have just took the classes but not be in the program. You have the solar. You took a solar class, physics, trigonometry, leadership and art, general chemistry. Yep, you took some solar classes, like I said. Yep, you took solar classes, but you were not in the program.
Mm-hmm. Does the internship from the spring show up in there?
Entrance from the spring of what year? I can go back.
Oh, this year, 2021. Winter. Yeah, you do spring.
No.
Does it normally show up in there?
Yes, if internship is part of the curriculum, yes.
Okay. Do you have an Alyssa Brandt that works in that area or anywhere in the campus?
What is the last name?
BRAN. I think it's T or DT.
You said the first name is Alyssa?
Alyssa? Yeah, ALYSSA.
No. All the branch. There's no Alyssa with all the last names.
Ooh, did you see how hard she squeezed her hands together?
And is that check non
Wow.
feeling
the pressure,
anybody
eh?
on campus that works there?
There will be anybody on campus. The directory will have anybody on campus.
Okay. How about, does Daniel Spice still work there? His last name is Spice. Yeah, it's trying to get the proper spelling.
You know, that's got to be so hard to accept, right? That here you are, even if you're frustrated with your kid, you're right at graduation, right? And you're already irritated about jobs and getting all these crazy stories, and you call because you know something's up because of the whole transcript deal, and then you find out that the whole 3 years has been a complete lie, a fabrication. How do you I'm telling you, he's very composed. I would be furious.
No, SPEITH.
You said SPEITH. No, it's not so. No.
That's right, Lise. Horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Okay. That should have done. Okay. Thank you for your help.
All right, you're welcome.
God. Oh, it's devastating.
No further questions.
Cross-examination.
No, thank you.
Oh my God.
Thank you, sir. You are
my
excused
God.
and released from your subpoena. Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
time.
Wow.
Jury, the break will occur at this point in time. I was hoping to go longer into the noon hour because I'm supposed to go to a judge's meeting.
Okay. Question. When did they do the transcript? Before Omar or after Omar? That's exactly right, Joan. They tell the biggest lies just thinking nobody will ever find out. It's very strange. How do you hide 3 years of lying? Don't remember. Okay. Well, that was the end of Omar. Well, no, that was the end of the Omar testimony.
Still wearing enough layers to insulate an iceberg? It's time for a new hoodie. Meet the
483 and 484.
483 is a certification of business records from TDS. And 484 is the records themselves.
And do they give you the IP address for the 4595 Oak Springs Circle address in Windsor, Wisconsin?
Yes.
Okay, this
And
was
what is that IP address?
69.130.
It seems like they will take off at the drop of a hat and it messes up the whole schedule. Chandler and I have both rearranged our schedules to meet with an advisor today. And I expect you to find a way to make that happen.
Email 2 from Chandler Halderson to Alyssa Brandt, subject late. What does that read?
I'm currently heading to the hospital. I will not make my meeting. I remember there is a wait list, but I still will need my meeting rescheduled as soon as possible.
And number
okay. I want to go back. I hope I'm not irritating y'all, but I wanted to. I was at first. What is this? Okay. Yeah, this is what I want to watch.
Of the that is listed under that account.
February 11th of 1988.
Let's move to alyssabrandt64@gmail.com. What is the IP address of creation?
August 18th of 2020.
Okay, so they're showing that these are all Chandler
What
sock
is the IP
accounts.
address?
69.130.255.56.
So again, the Bart Halderson internet account.
Yes.
So that email was created connected to that Wi-Fi.
Yes.
And what, if any, recovery phone number was listed?
There is none.
And what date of birth was listed?
March 15th of 1998.
Chandler Halderson's birthday.
Yes.
Chandler, you
All right,
putz.
what about chandlerhalderson@gmail.com? What was the date of creation?
January 20th of 2020.
And what was the IP address of creation?
69.130.255.56.
Again, the Halderson address is Wi-Fi.
Yes.
And what was the recovery phone number for the Chandler Halderson Gmail?
6'8", 838-4549.
And the date of birth listed.
March 15th of 1998.
And speakdaniel@gmail.com. What was the date of creation?
August 5th, 2020.
And what was the IP address of creation?
68.113.249.195.
So that one is on a different Wi-Fi account.
Yes.
Probably on cat.
What is the recovery phone number for speakdaniel@gmail.com?
920-838-4549.
So Chandler Halderson's phone number is the phone number for the recovery.
Yes.
And what is the date of birth listed for speakdaniel@gmail.com?
March 15th of 1998.
Chandler Halderson's birthday?
Yes.
I don't like Chandler at all.
So Detective, during the course of this investigation, did you also download some phones?
Yes.
How do you download a phone?
The phone needs to be connected to a computer running appropriate forensic software, and then perform a data
View as case detectives is within the Cellbrite Reader program. And so we can generate reports from the emails. And again, this is just number 30 within the report we created. On the left is the number 30, the timestamp and date. And then the subject of the emails is to the right of your screen.
Sure. And so this one we'll just talk about its makeup, and we won't do that for all of them. So 30 is a number created by Cellbrite on the far left. That just is the number of the email.
That's correct.
All right. The timestamp there, it says June 7th, 2021 at 8:13 a.m. As we go through this, we won't talk about time a lot, but is that time specifically accurate in this program?
In this program, in this particular report, it is not. So the UTC -5 is in regards to, you actually should add the 5 hours back to the email time. Detective Blank informed me that the Google records were actually received in our central time, and Cellbrite Reader program subtracted 5 hours.
So while the times might not be super relevant today, but if the jury looks at that, they should just think it's plus 5 hours each time.
That's correct.
Okay. And so then at the very top of the column on the right, we have the subject of the email, which is the subject line we always think of in an email.
Yes.
And here it's email from MATC, and the body, that's the actual email that was sent.
Yes, it is.
All right. And we have this one, Chaz, I did not receive the email string regarding the appointment on Thursday. Please send to me, signed Bart Halderson. And Bart Halderson's email is what?
B Halderson@bdo.com.
What is BDO?
It was Bart's place of employment.
His accounting firm?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you
and
went
that's
through
the
these
thing.
emails and pulled out ones relevant as you discussed. And so we'll start going through those. Talk to me about email 20. If you could just, we have to read it into the record, of course. So I'll just say that it was on June 11th, 2021. The subject was HR. What did that email read?
Did you email HR to inquire about your paycheck? Unless there is something that you are not telling us, they have had.
So real quick, I want to interrupt because BDO is a massive company, right? It's a massive company, and they do, the description is assurances, accounting, tax, and advisory services. They actually, they're the ones that calculate like actuaries, right? Like figuring out how big of a risk something may be or not. I mean, these are high income individuals. So I did not realize that he had worked for BDO. I knew what BDO. Do y'all remember there was a marketing campaign a long time ago now? I don't remember how long ago it was, but it was something like when something. I think it was when BDO talks, everyone listens, and it would be it would just show these rooms with like tons of like suited professionals who were just sitting quietly in a room. Yeah, the revenue is 1.8 billion in 1 year. 1.8 billion. So there's almost 100,000 employees. In 2021, the revenue was 11.8 billion. Oh, that's BDO Global, and the 1.8 billion is BDO USA. So that gives you an idea. This is a huge company, and it's not just, doing someone's taxes. They're actually setting rates, and they're getting the conversion numbers and whatnot for like Sally Mae, right? For these big worldwide, World Bank and whatnot. They're a huge deal. So when I found out that Halderson was working for BDO, I was like, good gracious, because people had said that they didn't have any money. People had said they didn't have any money, and that's why they were living in an old house and updating it rather than buying a new house, blah blah blah. But no, that's not the case. A CPA working for BDO, no. He was making bank. But he's an accountant. So, an accountant will tell you, how you get rich? You don't spend any money. That it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you don't spend. That's the path to riches. So no, if you go back and you listen to Mitchell being questioned, Mitchell does say that, not counting the house, right? Not counting the house, not counting insurance, there was $2 million. So Chandler would have gotten $1 million and Mitchell would have gotten $1 million, without counting the value of the house or any life insurance. So these two boys, Mitchell and Chandler, they were poised to inherit a lot of money. I was floored to see that he worked for BDO. All right, here we go.
Had ample time to pay you, Bart Halderson.
And that was from Bart to Chandler.
That's correct.
Email 19 on June 11th, 2021. The subject, HR. From Chandler to Bart, could you read the response essentially?
I added him to my room queue, so hopefully soon.
Again, on the same day, we have email number 18. The subject is payment, and it's from Chandler to someone named Tom Selznick at protonmail.com. Could you read the body of that email?
Good afternoon. My name is Chandler Halderson. I was recently made aware of you taking my case. Can I have an explanation of why I haven't been paid yet? Thank you, Chandler.
And then if you look at the time on this one, it's 8:49:35. But shortly after that, on June 11th, obviously we're adding that 5 hours. So June 11th, 2021, Mr. Selznick, someone named Tom Selznick at protonmail.com, emails Chandler Halderson in response. What does he say?
Hi, Chandler. I was given your case on Tuesday. However, I have contacted your payroll company and have determined a few issues. 1, you are registered as salary. However, you are making an hourly wage. 2, for 2 months, the payroll company saw your name and dues as a clerical error. Unfortunately, you have been making $25 an hour when your salary states you should be making $61,000 annually. This is around a $10,000 difference annually. When I get in contact with payroll, I will show them exactly when you were switched and find out why there was a delay on your dues. Have a great rest of your Friday. Tom Selznick. Tom Selznick, Northeast Remote Human Resources Manager.
Email 16 on the same day, June 11th, from Selznick to Chandler. Could you read that?
I updated the log and changed your dues. I'll let payroll know of the change. Keep an eye on your bank account and let me know if you have not been paid by next Friday. Tom Selznick. Northeast, oh, sorry.
You can continue.
Northeast Remote Human Resources Manager.
Number 13, this is again, June 11th, from Chandler back to Mr. Selznick. What does it read?
When is payday for me? I was wondering when I'd get paid.
From email 12, same day, June 11th, 2021, from Mr. Selznick to Mr. Halderson. What does it read?
First payment ASAP, then the first Friday of each month. Tom Selznick.
Email 10, from Mr. Halderson to Mr. Selznick on the 17th of June now. What does it read?
Good evening. I was hoping to hear the status of my check. Is there anything wrong or holding it back from being delivered? I recently had to go to the emergency room, so I will need my check ASAP. Thank you, Chandler.
Email 9 on June 18th from Mr. Selznick to Mr. Halderson. The subject is still regarding payment. Could you read the body of that email?
Good morning, Chandler. I will make some calls when your office opens to speed things along. I'm sorry to hear about your trip to the ER. That's never fun. I do appreciate your patience with this, Tom Selznick.
Email number 7 on the 18th of June from Mr. Selznick, Mr. Halderson, still regarding payment. Could you read the body of that email?
I will be traveling to Madison, Wisconsin, Wednesday of next week for restructuring of the HR department. It seems there is a lack of communication to be resolved. I will hope to meet you in person and have a sit down on Thursday if you are capable of travel. Tom
Isn't
Selznick.
that crazy? This
Email
is
6
so
on the 18th of
crazy.
June, from Mr. Halderson to Mr. Selznick. Could you read the body of that email?
This is so crazy.
Yes, that
to
will
watch.
work fine. I look forward to meeting with you. Thank you, Chandler.
Now to email 4 from Mr. Selznick to Mr. Halderson on the 24th of June. Subject meeting times. What did Mr. Selznick reportedly say here?
Actually, Alexis,
Good morning, Chandler.
there's
I'm
a
holding board
movie
meeting
called
this
Tom
afternoon to discuss the
Selznick
changes I've made to
about
the
a
department.
pianist.
If I am able to meet with you today, I will join your room around lunch over Team Viewer. My apologies for the inconvenience. However, there would not be enough members tomorrow to hold the committee.
Email number 3 from Mr. Halderson to Mr. Selznick. Meeting times. Could you read
Believe
the body
that
of
boy
email?
would climb a tree to tell a lie.
I will be available 12 to 5 p.m. today in my room. I would like to be kept up to date with any news regarding my case. Thank you, Chandler.
That person, Tom Selznick, we heard about a lot of subpoenas from Alyssa Brandt and Hoover and Chandler, all at gmail.com. Tom Selznick at Proton Mail.
Yeah, and why the hell are they using a proton mail?
We did not subpoena Proton Mail.
What goes into that decision, or why not?
After reviewing the emails, Detective Shunk and I had a conversation with Detective Blank in regards to the Proton Mail. And we learned that it's an email server based out of Switzerland. So based upon that information, we opted to not draft a subpoena for the records, and we decided to contact American Family directly to ask if Tom Selznick was an employee there.
Sure. And you made contact with those people?
We did.
And in fact, we're going to hear from them today?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take back this exhibit from you. Showing it's been marked in this case, exhibit number 478. If you could page through that real quick and let me know what that is.
Yeah, he can't even spell it correctly. The other thing I noticed, let's see if I can find the one. Yeah, So if you look at this one, it says, "Hi Chandler, I was given your case Tuesday, company, and have determined a few issues, period." Well, that would have been a colon. And then he's got one, and then he starts a sentence off, "You are registered," but he uses a lowercase y, lowercase f. When he writes, "Unfortunately," it's lowercase. He doesn't set it off with a comma. No period here. This is ridiculous. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Okay, and then I think we were looking for the college transcript. I think she said 1:30, but that's the end, so it can't be 1:30.
Prompted. Thank you and have a great rest of your day, Daniel Spieth.
Email 18/5 and 1. We're looking at the same thing.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to Mr. Daniel Spieth, so Spieth Daniel Gmail.
For this account from Google.
And in the course of working on this case, as a case detective.
If you feel the devastating embarrassment and pain of herpes, stop and watch this. Because you're about
Did you review the Alyssa Brandt 64 email?
Yes, I did. An opening on Friday at 2 p.m. with Aaron. Would you like that slot?
Email 31, 25th of May, Mr. Halderson to Ms. Brandt. Same subject line. What does that say?
Unfortunately, I can't take any time off this week because of the 2 days I'm missing from work already. So Monday still will be best. Thanks.
Number 30, same day, Mr. Halderson to Ms. Brandt. Same subject line. What does that say?
Is there a possibility of getting my meeting back, or could I get the Friday?
29, same day, Mr. Halderson to Ms. Brandt. What do we have there?
Anything would work this week, if not today.
Email 28, again on the 25th, Mr. Halderson to Alyssa Brandt. Same subject line. What does that say?
I'm sorry to be pushy. I forgot that it was a holiday weekend and will push through to go to my meeting.
Doesn't it seem like it would be easier to just get a damn
Email
job?
27. Now we have an email from Alyssa Brandt responding to Chandler Halderson in that same subject line. What does that email read?
Unfortunately, I've already bumped the waiting list into place. I'll put you in the number 1 slot to see if you can get in today. Otherwise, the next appointment is on Friday at 2 p.m.
He probably thought he deserved a
26th,
secretary,
25th,
Kathy.
Mr. Halderson to Alyssa Brandt, same subject line. Could you read that?
I appreciate it. I will be available at any time you give me. Even a video call today would work. My dad only has a few hours off today.
Email 25 on the 25th of May, Alyssa Brandt, emailing
Shazzle
Halderson,
McDazzle
back in the same
is a
subject
brat.
line. What does that email read?
I will give you a call as soon as I find an opening. Until then, you have Friday at 2 p.m. I hope it can work for you.
I think he was an addict, Carol.
Number 24.
He's
on the
lost an
28th of
enormous
May,
amount of
Ms.
weight.
Brandt's
I think he's using
emails,
something.
Chandler Halderson,
Maybe,
subject
you
line,
know,
schedule
an
changes.
amphetamine.
What does that say?
Dear students, keep watch for scheduling changes. We are short-staffed today, and there likely will be day and time shifts for your meeting. Keep an eye out for an email or call from either me or your advisor. Have a great weekend, Alyssa Brandt.
Just briefly.
Damn,
maybe this is a good
he
email
was
to
coming
point
up
out.
with all
In
kinds of lies.
The email itself, Brandt is spelled B-R-A-N-T. Is that correct?
That's correct.
What is the registered name? How is that spelled?
Alyssa is spelled the same, A-L-Y-S-S-A, and the last name is B-R-A-N. N is in Nancy, D is in David, T is in Tom. So
Alyssa doesn't know her own
B-R-A-N-D-T.
name.
And in the actual email body, when she uses the last name, it's without the D, but just with the T.
That's correct.
Email 23, 28th of May, Chandler Halderson emails Alyssa Brandt regarding the schedule changes. What does he say?
Thank you, Blonde
Good
PT.
morning. Is there a problem with my meeting? I have waited a long time for a meeting and my employers need my transcripts ASAP. Thank you, Chandler.
Email 22, again on the 28th, Alyssa Brandt emails Chandler Halderson back regarding that same subject matter. What does she say?
Your advisor will contact you directly. The advisement director is handling the situation as we speak. If there are changes, you will be made aware shortly.
Chandler, you
21,
putz.
on the 28th again, Mr.
I don't like the
Halderson,
guy.
back to Ms. Brandt, same subject line. He responds, what?
Okay, thank you.
Email 20, again on the 28th, Mr. Halderson and Ms. Brandt, same subject line.
You
Could read the
going
body of that email?
down, Chandler.
My meeting was altered. Is there a person I can call? I need answers to my questions ASAP.
Email 19, again on the 28th, from Alyssa Brandt to Chandler Halderson, same subject line of schedule changes. Could you read the body of that email, please?
I will find someone free to call you. Thank you for your patience.
Email 18, still on the 28th, from Alyssa Brandt to Chandler Halderson, regarding the schedule changes. What does Ms. Brandt say to Mr. Halderson?
Your phone number is 920-838-4549, correct?
And then just a question, that is in fact Mr. Halderson's cell phone number.
Yes, it is.
Number 17, still on the 28th, Mr. Halderson emails Alyssa Brandt regarding that exact question. And what does he say?
Yes, that is correct.
Email 16, 28th still, Alyssa Brandt emails Chandler Halderson, same subject line. Read that email.
Great. I'm still doing my best to find someone free to give you a call, but I'm positive I'll find someone. Thank you for your patience.
Email 15, Mr. Halderson emails Alyssa Brandt, same day, same subject line. Could you read that one?
Could I please have your phone number so you could help shed light on this situation?
There was no response to that email with a phone number or anything because the next email is on the 1st, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Email 14, June 1st, 2021, from Chandler Halderson to Alyssa Brandt regarding those schedule changes. What does that email read?
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
I'm checking to see if there's been any progress on the documents I requested. Is there any news? Thank you, Chandler.
Sonny, I can't believe
13
that
was
she
cut off a
did
bit
not
here, but,
know
this one is
the
June 1st,
smell in that
2021,
house must have been
from Alyssa Brandt
atrocious.
to Chandler Halderson, same
I
subject
just-
line. Could you read that?
It's too hard for me to accept.
Sorry for the late response. I'm running around grabbing everything on my spare time. It's been a hectic day due to recent events. Thanks for your patience, Alyssa.
June 1st, 2021, Alyssa Brandt to Chandler Halderson, same subject line. What does she say here?
I won't be able to access your transcripts or get the certification degree without the key to the records room. I'll let you know when it arrives.
Email 11, June 4th, Mr. Halderson to Ms. Brandt, same subject line. What do we have here?
Could you add me to any open time for next week?
And you added the word open, just for the record, it's spelled wrong, correctly?
I did. In the email, it's spelled OOEN.
Thank you. Email 10, June 4th, 2021, Alyssa Brandt responds to Chandler Halderson in the schedule change email string and says what?
Yeah, no problem. How does Thursday at 11:30 sound?
Email 9, June 4th, Chandler Halderson to Alyssa Brandt. He responds perfect.
Correct.
He drug this out
Email
a
8,
long
when
way,
you-
didn't he?
Subject line. So the subject is just scheduling from Chandler Halderson. Would you mind just opening the document to confirm who email 8 was sent to? I know it was cut off here.
Yeah, I think Kat was like the fourth witness.
So email 8 is sent to Alyssa Brandt64@gmail.com from Chandler. Subject is scheduling. The body is, good morning. My advisor, Aaron, took today and tomorrow off. Who will I be sent to and at what time?
And we're gonna have the same question for a couple of these. We just tried to fit them in the screen as best we could. Number 7, that's the June 10th, 2021 email. We're responding to scheduling. Who are the parties in that email?
This email is to Chandler Halderson from Alyssa Brandt.
And could you read the body of that?
At
Good
3
morning, Chandler. You
at
are not on the list to be
3:30
picked
a.m.
up today. When was your meeting scheduled for?
Same questions for number 6. Who are the parties of that email sent on June 10th?
This email is to Alyssa Brandt from Chandler Halderson.
Okay, and read the body if you could.
It was for today at 11:30 with Aaron Hoover.
Yeah. So I think we
Number
get the
5,
message,
same
right?
questions. Who are the parties in this June 10th email?
He's an incredible liar. Like he's incredible. So, okay, so we're looking for the next. No, it's not that one. Where is it? Yeah, let me go backward one.
But that didn't work out. So
Was it this one?
Still wearing enough layers to insulate an iceberg? It's time for a new hoodie.
I work as an enrollment coordinator
No,
at
that's
Madison College.
Omar.
And tell me a little bit about that job. What do you do in that job?
We are customer service that, like one-stop shop that help different departments. We support different departments like financial aid, enrollment.
The statistics class
Ha!
and into the renewable energy class.
There
Looks
we
like you
go.
withdrew. Is that fair?
Yes.
Going into 2000.
I found it. Okay.
they are received.
Okay, so here's the
Published.
They may be
transcripts
published.
from how much Chandler did not attend college.
Starting with the transcripts, we'll zoom in just a bit. So we're looking at exhibit number 504. But spring of 2018 shows Mr. Halderson was in fact enrolled at MATC, correct?
It's on there, yes.
All right. I took a couple classes.
Spring of
leadership as an art,
2018, got
trigonometry,
3 classes.
University physics, and some sort of solar technology class.
Made
and
C's.
actually completed some classes in the spring of 18. Fair?
Yes.
All right. Summer of 2018.
Again, C's.
He enrolled for a few classes, general chemistry, basic statistics.
Took 5 hours.
And another solar class, and completed some classes there, summer of 18.
Yes, completed some, and it looks like withdrew from another.
Withdrew from the statistics class.
Correct.
Okay. Moving to the fall of 2018. There, Mr. Halderson, intro to sustainable design, again, taking basic statistics, intro to renewable energy, and he completed the design class, got an A, failed the statistics class, and into the renewable energy class. Looks like he withdrew. Is that fair?
Yes.
Going into 2019, spring of 2019, took a couple classes, environmental science, project
Jesus
management, weather and
Christ.
climate, and electronics class. And looks like there was a C in the project management class, but the rest he withdrew from.
Correct.
Because he got money back, right? He's getting a W grade. He got money back.
We see some additional classes now in the fall of 2019. This is on the second page. It looks like Microsoft Word, a couple levels of that, written communication, exploration of something in technology, Cisco networking, IT security awareness, enterprise client, psychology of human relations. In all of these classes, he withdrew from half or a little less than half and failed the remainder, correct?
Correct. The WNA it's withdrew with no attempt, meaning that the class was withdrawn sometime, I think it's the first 10 days of the course.
And then going into fall of
That was his gig.
2020.
He'd enroll And then when he would withdraw in
See
the
some
first
Microsoft
10
Word
days, he'd get a
classes,
portion
networking
of a
classes,
refund.
Psychology, mostly withdrawn with a couple Fs. There, correct?
Correct.
And that fall of 2020 didn't complete any credits, but that was the last time that he was enrolled at MATC.
Yes.
My God, can you
So
imagine
after
his
the fall
dad? Ugh.
of the fall of 2020, he was not a student there any longer, from what you're able to glean from all these documents.
Correct. I believe the end of that semester was January 18th or so of 21.
Sure. And if we look back in 19 and 20, he doesn't earn any credits, either withdraws or fails from all of those classes.
Correct.
Right. And so we'd have to go back to the spring of 19 when he got a C in something called project management to find the last class where any credits were earned.
That's what I'm seeing.
Okay. And then just to maybe a more easy way to view it, they sent you something called an enrollment verification. We'll zoom out just a tad so everyone can see that. But that shows that he was enrolled 3/4 in the spring of 18, halftime in the summer, halftime in the fall of 18, going into 19 in the spring, less than half, the fall, 3/4, and the fall, halftime.
Correct.
What a waste.
Did you ever find any information in this case to indicate that Mr. Halderson was attending classes or going to classes at MATC going into the spring of 2021 or into the summer of 2021?
They did not have any records of that.
Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple of documents that are already in evidence. This morning, Detective Blank testified about this small burner phone. And
Okay, I have a question for you guys. Is Chandler going to take the stand? If you withdraw in a certain so many days before, if you withdraw within so many days or so many weeks at the beginning of the semester, you get a portion of a refund. Like you might get 90% if you withdraw before day 1 of class. You might get a 75% refund if you withdraw before the 6th class period, and then like a 25% refund for something else. So he must have figured out what part to draw. That's why you saw him all of a sudden he's registering for like 8 or 9 classes, but he's dropping half of them because he was getting refund. And then he never went back. You notice in the beginning, he was only registering for 2 or 3 classes, but then he learned about the refunds. And so then he registered for tons of classes and then withdrew. No, I think he's a narcissist. He believes what he said. He believes that people will believe him, that he believes that he's smart enough to outsmart everybody. And his dad, realistically, his dad was probably on to him, right? But you know how we are with our kids. We want our kids to do well, right? I mean, which is probably why he told Chandler that they had an appointment. It was probably that whole Casey Anthony thing. He wanted to see how far Chandler would go with it. At what would it take for Chandler to admit, yeah, I lied. I'm a liar. And of course, Chandler never did. He couldn't face what is it that people that talk about narcissism, what is it that they're always trying to express? That with narcissism specifically, the person is wearing a mask. Their personality disorder comes from the need to hide who they really are, which is an incompetent, broken person who doesn't feel they can do anything right. Okay? So everything that they do is all to build a mask to put out to the world. It says, hey, don't look at who I really am. Just look at this image of who I wish I was. Right? Well, people that work in this area, they will tell you for some narcissists to remove their mask, to expose them, you can put yourself in a very dangerous situation. That many of them, it is so important to maintain the illusion, right? That if they believe that you're about to reveal them to show who they truly are, they may hurt you, or they may destroy and slander your reputation. They would rather destroy you than to be destroyed. And they believe if you rip their mask off, they believe that it destroys them. Right? So, this is a good example of that. If he indeed is a narcissist, his dad was ready to expose him as being a liar and a failure. And, he was, and his brother, don't forget, right? His brother was the guy that he was pretending to be. His brother graduated, had a girlfriend or about to get married, had a job, buying a house, right? So his brother was everything that he was pretending to be. He realistically, he probably lived in the shadow of his brother. He probably heard that a lot, look, your brother's doing it. Your brother did fine. Why can't you? That kind of thing. And unfortunately, this disease of affluence, it's can be real. And I've always said a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. And some people, I'm going to tell y'all, I deal with a lot of families where the parents come in and they say something like, I just don't know what to do. He won't do what I tell him, and then he yells at me, and it's just awful. And she's talking about a 5-year-old, right? A 5-year-old. You don't know what to do with your 5-year-old? And I don't mean that to sound like I'm being harsh or judgmental. I think that when those situations come up, I think it comes from a good place. I think that's a mother or father who wants, they want to do a good job, right? They want to be a good parent. They don't want to damage their child. They've been told don't spank, right? And so they want to, they try to reason with the child, like the child's just a miniature 40-year-old. And you can't reason with a 5-year-old on an adult level. If you're going to reason with them, you got to get down and get concrete and get on a 5-year-old level. So a lot of people as parents have kind of had their hands tied by this, partial information. And believe it or not, I spend a great deal of time teaching parents how to do a behavior plan. What are the things you would like your child to do? And let's ask your child about what rewards they would find to be, worthwhile. And then this is how you have to learn how to be consistent. You have to learn how to have a schedule for your family. And then you got to learn how not to carry guilt. Your child can do the requirements in the home. And if they choose not to, then withhold the reward. And then they don't have to yell at you, because you can say, but why are you yelling at me? You know how to get the reward and you didn't do what you needed to do. So yell at yourself. And I believe it or not, I have a lot of parents that think that that's harsh. And so I've kind of gotten into the habit now, of saying, well, I want you to imagine, that your 4-year-old or your 6-year-old is doing the same behavior when they're 17. Is that something that you're willing to accept? Because you think about it, some of these kids that are ruling a household with temper tantrums, when they're little kids, it's irritating. But when your 17-year-old is ruling the house with fear, there may be guns involved, right? So I have a great deal of compassion for these parents. They're really trying to do the right thing. They really are. But they just sort of get left behind, the message of don't hit is not even remotely close to the message of hold your child accountable for their actions. Your child can manage being held responsible for their actions. They can do that. In the morning, get your child up, make them make their bed, right? Just as an act of a daily schedule that helps them make their home a better place. I will tell you this, it's kind of crazy sounding. I've had a family before where there was so much trash on the floor in the living room that 3 boys, right? Between the ages of like 11 and 19, there were 3 boys. There was so much trash on the living room floor that, they didn't really know whose trash was who. And so the mom, in a stepping stone fashion to getting a behavior plan that would be successful, she started taking a permanent marker, and on each bag of fast food, or the cup of fast food, or the hamburger container of fast food, she would write the initials of each kid, so that she would know which kid did not pick up which piece of trash. Yeah. Believe it or not. I see, and I think to myself, how do you get to that point? How do you get to that point that trash is piling up in your living room and your kids are saying, but it's not mine, it's his. No, it's his. No, it's his. I'd have been done. You know what I'd have said? I'd have said, guess what? From here on out, it's peanut butter and jelly sandwiches until somebody can figure out how to pick up a damn piece of trash. I mean, it wouldn't have been a hard thing, right? But there are parents that they're really invested in being good parents. They love their kids dearly. They don't want to do anything that might hurt their child or traumatize their child. So they're very careful about what they're doing. And it just, I'm going to tell you what, if you're living in a house that a 5-year-old is making the decisions, this is going to be a house of chaos. Right? So it's Chandler didn't end up here all by himself. Now, I'm not saying that the Haldersons deserve that. My God, that we're not even close to, that. But I am saying people need to remember when they have small children in their lives, they need to remember that they're not always going to be small. And if what they're doing now, if you're like, oh, he's so cute when he slaps me in the face. Was it going to be cute when he's slapping you in the face and he's 20? Right? Or your little girl is screeching at the top of her lungs and using cuss words at 5. Is that going to be cute at 20? And if you don't put a stop to it at some point, it will be going on when they're 20, right? So setting limits for children, that's how those children learn how to set boundaries in adulthood. And when you get adults that just don't know how to manage boundaries in adulthood, generally, if you go back and talk to them about the parents that they had when they were growing up, the parents were either really disengaged, didn't play with them, didn't interact with them very much, or the parents were more interested in being the friend. They never set any limits, nothing like that. Yeah, I'm the everyone gets a trophy mentality. Exactly, Blonde, because here's what you're teaching when you say everyone gets a trophy. Those kids that excel, right? Those kids that work really hard at whatever, it happens to be. Then one of those kids learned. They've learned, I don't have to work hard. I don't have to put in the extra time to do something. I just get to, slide along with everybody else. They don't learn about exceptionalism and investment in time and that kind of thing. You're a lot better off, instead of doing the whole everybody gets a trophy thing. You're a lot better off to have, find your niche. Provide the child lots of different types of experiences until they find something they enjoy. So maybe they're not very good at basketball, but they turn out that they're amazing playing the guitar. Or maybe they're not any good at playing the guitar, but they really, really love ceramics. I've had little kids before that went to cooking class with mom or dad and loved it. So you can't underestimate a kid and their interest and what they may or may not be good at. Very important. His mom would not drink in front of her kids, per her best friend. I believe that, Sonny. Yeah, so that fits in. This was probably a mom and dad that were really committed to their kids. My daughter, just like T-Ball, was picking daisies, and she was perfect, wasn't she? She was perfect picking her daisies on the T-Ball field, doing exactly what she was supposed to do. Good night, Joan. Sleep well. Thank you for being here with us. Oh, it sounds like we're having a storm out there. Oh, I got a dog outside too. Okay. Listen, I had a great time sharing time with y'all. I appreciate it so much. And y'all get some good sleep tonight, okay? I'll talk to you later. Bye.